To support them.
Alhamdulillah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us this morning for University of Ministry and Leadership. Alhamdulillah, we just broadcast yesterday's recording of the Jumu'ah, which was part 8 of Taqwa and the Game of Life. And before we continue today, we want you to join us. Punch in comments, questions, etc. We invite you not to reteach the subject, make a contribution to it, an insight that you have to share, something you want to put on the table for the benefit of all, and respect the fact that there may be others who have comments as well. So push one on your phone. Here's your opportunity. And those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, what you can do is type it in. Sometimes they come through. I don't know which platform you have to be on in order for it to come through. I get some from Facebook, some from YouTube. So I'm using StreamYard overall. So if somebody knows something about that I need to understand, make sure you let me know. All right. That being said, I'm get my brother Mark. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you, Imam Fahim Shoaib, and to your very astute radio listening audience, Mark Shaheed from the STL, the gateway city of St. Louis, and the Show Me State of Missouri. I want to say alhamdulillah, the praise and thanks belong to Allah, first and foremost always. Excellent point, excellent clip once again. So many things that you said, but I love when you were talking about the hadith, the Sahih hadith for children. What came to my mind in regards to that, those would be like very basic and fundamental, and equate that to the Quran, where Allah gives the composition of the Quran in terms of the verses that would reveal in Surah Ali Imran, in terms of the basic and fundamentals being the foundation, and then those are very explicit, but the implicit, not clear, but you have to start there. And I'm thinking that in order to become practitioners of the hadith, the sunnah of the prophet, that's a good place to start. I want to say that first and foremost.
Yeah.
The other thing, very, very profound Sahih hadith that you gave of the prophet, in terms of moderation and expenditure being half of economy. The prophet gave many hadiths, and of course one is most well known, that marriage is the sacred institution of marriage is one half of the deen, and then he said, let them in the other half be conscious, regardful of God, which is taqwa. So my question is, I want to make sure that I'm clear, is that the other half of that not being a spendthrift, as Allah talks about that in the Quran, as being something that's influenced by the shaitan.
Yeah.
With the other half in terms of being not only in terms of saving, but investment.
Yes.
Like you want to get a good return back on your investment.
Mm-hmm.
That's the question.
No, I mean, you're correct. You're correct. And that hadith, that the hadith that I kind of reinforced that hadith with the one with the name in the clouds, right? How what he did, he respected his obligation to Allah, and then he respected his obligation to his family, and then he respected the obligation to his investment, right? So it's like, I mean, what kind of character do you have to be, and will you be, if that's how you living? You know what I'm saying? If you living like that, look, I tell you, see, it's like I said something about Christians. I'm gonna say this again right now, right? So whatever you want to say about Christians, died in the wood, Baptists, and do da da da. Listen, I know Christians. They're Christians, quote unquote, if not a quote unquote. Actually, in my family, they tithe heavy, and that tithing for them is 10%. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he only obligates us to 2.5% of what is beyond the whatever the nisab, but we won't get all into that. That's all God said. That's what you're obligated to. But sadaqah is a very big deal. So what I'm saying is that I'm talking about they giving thousands a month to the church. If people want to criticize the pastor or whatever, say whatever you will. But they are also living good. I see them living good. Yeah, they have big bills for cars and big bills for houses and what, but they paying them too. And they're tithing too, right? So it's like, wait, y'all need to leave them Christians alone, man. The ones that's practicing what they're practicing, right? So what if a Muslim lived just in accordance with just that hadith? 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Man, we'd be wealthy overnight.
Yes, and we have to believe that. And I love the other thing. Two more things, real quickly. I love the other thing that you said. Do we really truly believe in Allah? That's very important. I often have asked the question. Said, if you ask the question, do you believe in Allah? Everybody's hand would go up.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would ask the question, do you believe Allah? Now this takes us to what is being revealed to us, revelation.
Yeah.
And then put it into application.
Right.
So it's like until that belief actually becomes a conviction.
Yeah.
It's like the champ Ali used to say, that's when things really begin to happen. The maturation of the belief becoming a conviction. And then lastly, in terms of keeping good company and friends and wisdom, there's a word, Tyler just used the word wisdom. When capital I, see discernment operating magnificently, that wisdom actually would be when you see the discernment operating magnificently.
Allahu Akbar.
So I'll stop with that.
Thank you.
Brother Imam, this is always excellent. The cook buzz is so thought-provoking and so sensitive that it keeps you just thinking. We need to.
MashaAllah, that's the idea.
Revelation and the Sahih Hadith of the Prophet is given, and we can start with those that are designed for children. Thank you. May Allah continue to bless you and us.
Amen.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran jazeelan. Alhamdulillah. Imam Nazim, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To you, Brother Imam, and the listening audience. We just want to follow in the footsteps of Brother Mark there a little bit in expounding him. Like you said before, this is not confessional, but I think we have been laboring with trying to really start to apply what Imam Muhammad has given us. And I think we just don't know the value of it. It just feels so good to be able to have known a man, to live in the lifetime of a man who did so much to give us courage to do more with our life than we had previously done. We tend to be talkers more than doers, and I appreciate that you really inspired the doing and really to try to wrap our heads around what we got in terms of knowledge, wisdom, however you want to go with that. And I want to offer my little thing that I put together that's similar to what I did a week ago, last week or whatever. But it hopefully it will be impactful, and it's definitely a compact, and it will be more there after you unpack it. And that is, these two words came in my mind, and then the other followed the two words I'm going to mention now. I think yesterday, I think before yesterday. And it goes like this. travel, and you will be less tribal on the way to God's guidance, freeing us to becoming global on the road to social cooperation.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Very good. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, that's very, very. What can I say? But Alhamdulillah, that's what we know. That is it, right? I mean, it's visual. What you're saying also is visual, and that is it. The road to the global is social cooperation, right? But you can't get to the global until you stop being tribal, right? That's what I hear you. That's what I hear you saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it, I mean, I'm learning while I'm teaching, and that's what ta'aleem is, right? I'm learning while I'm teaching. I mean, it's like what I share, mashallah, Allahu alam, this is no boast, it's just a representation of the fact. You know, it's like what I do, I share what I find while I'm studying, right? Okay, I'm studying something. Oh, look at that. Oh, well, that would be nice to tell at Jummah. Oh, that would be nice to tell on Saturday. Or that would be nice to tell on Sunday or Monday or Wednesday. It was like, so all I'm doing is sharing what I'm studying and what benefits me and what enlightens me and what enlivens me, right? And so that's what you and one point that I'm making here is that, you know, we said there's a difference between being tribal and being tribalistic and tribalism, right? There's a piece by Ismail Farouki. The title of it I can't remember right now, but he does a teaching on asabiya. That's talking about tribalism. But there's also another thing. There's another way of translating it, which I believe he mentions it as well. But the idea of patriotism, because to talk about patriotism, it's like it's not. There are people who take good things and give those good things a bad name, right? So patriotism is a good thing, but there are people who call themselves patriots that give patriotism a bad name, right? Allah said He created you tribes and nations. So God is telling us tribes are natural, but tribalism is not natural, right? And the role and the function and the value of being a tribe in its first manifestation as a tribe is good. That's the way God created us, to be able to socially cooperate just on a genetic, natural basis without rationality. It's just like, hey, that's my mama, that's my daddy, that's my cousin, that's what, you know, I'm just talking about at that level, right? But now, if you're going to get out of that and go from trouble to trouble, you're going to go from tribal to global. Okay, well then you have to mute that tribalistic aspect. You got to transcend that a bit. Hold on to it, right? Just like you get married, you don't ditch your mama just because I'm married now, so I can't be bothered with you. No, you have to still respect your mama inside of your new relationship and take the benefit and the value of that. So same way with tribe, right? Li ta'arrafu, and the rest of that verse, or rather inside that verse, it says. So no, you're absolutely right. But making that road, making that growth of traveling that road in maturation, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but also you don't hold on to those things that have to be taken off if you're going to grow. Okay?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
I was just thinking with that somewhat of a Freudian slip, whatever, but you created another word. Once you move from tribal to global, you will be trouble.
Yeah. You're trouble, man. Hey, we can own it. We can own it. Hey, we can own it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, man, I'm not tribal. I'm not global. I'm trouble. Allahu Akbar. You know what I'm saying? Right. For some people, being trouble is trouble. It's going to be. So that's good stuff. Yeah, that guy we call it, and Dante, I see you. But that's a very normal thing that happens. If you have a chance, look into that book, that Douglas Hofstadter book, when I talked about what I don't even remember what the metaphors and analogies and the like. He points out they have a collection of those, and that happens all the time. because what's going on in our minds, right? We hear the words coming out of the mouth, but the words that we've decided to actually say and verbalize, they are the winners of a competition that was happening in our head, to be the word to be expressed in a particular sentence. But sometimes before the decision is made, they both wind up coming out of the mouth at the same time, but in combination, right? And because that the dialogue in your head to clarify the sentence, it hadn't been finalized. And see, that's what happens when you start rushing, right? You start rushing and you wind up, two words come out blended together, because either one of them could have fit a situation if you were going to address that particular situation. But when it comes out, it's like you get both of them together, and mashallah, just like you point out, it's like, hey, well, that's a good thing. We can work with that, right? Because that's what we're trying to get to being trouble. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, that's good.
Give me his name again, brother.
Douglas Hofstadter.
Okay.
Hold on. Dante, I'm coming, man. Let me get this. I'm going to give you his the actual. The title of the book is Surfaces and Essences. Surfaces and Essences. Okay, and it's spelled Hofstadter. Hofstadter, Hofstadter. Mashallah. It's very, very interesting piece. If you got the time, I did it on audio. I did it on audio books. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Afwan.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum, Dante.
Alaikum assalam.
What's going on, man?
How are you, brother Ivan?
I'm doing great. You a Sixers fan?
I'm a Sixers fan. But yeah, I'm a fan of talent. I'm only a Sixers fan because I'm from Philly. I'm just a fan of individual talent.
All right, good.
Collective team effort.
Yeah, I was just gonna give you your props since they're on top of the East right now. So I just want to recognize. That's all.
Yes,
Go ahead.
We gotta get Ben Simmons to the game though.
Inshallah.
But I just want to say that, like, you are such a mentor, a role model. You're so masterful in the way that you articulate. And I think, I get excited. I have to calm myself down sometimes when I call, because of the way that you have been blessed to, give us what you give us. And, I say, I went from A&E to being a 5%er to Allah bringing me to Islam. And then,
you've been on that road, huh?
I've been on that road. And I'm just so glad I am where I am. You have helped me. Like I said, you have helped me become a better investor.
MashaAllah.
A better Muslim.
MashaAllah.
And I so thank you for all of that.
Alhamdulillah.
And I want to also, bring this to the table if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about seed, there are 3 seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the little seed, and some of us, we see little. Then you have SEE, and when you have that sight, you're able to use your ears and your eyes to see. You have a little bit more sight. And then you have the SEA, and when you have that kind of sight, you see vastness and possibilities.
That's
and that
great.
takes you to having sight. That takes you to sight. And sight is something that is more focused. And once you get more focused, Allah will return you back to yourself, and then you will have insight. And then you can see the insight and the wisdom of yourself and see yourself in the world and universe.
Allahu Akbar.
Drop that on you.
You dropped it. You dropped the mic. You got a mic. You got a mic. Just drop it. Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff, man. Allahu Akbar. I can use that.
Absolutely.
Good, good, good.
Because I use so much of what you give me.
How many love? So since you took it there, as I continue, I had some other things, but since you took it there, and you did in a good way. I think I'm gonna add something to just to that, just touch that a little bit as I continue as a kind of I'm going to call it an extra. Imam Muhammad might call it a goodie, right? Just an extra goodie, and because it does tie very much everything that you just said about sight. See, that's a big part of the taqwa aspect of what we're talking about. I forgot to unplug the phone again. So I'm going to get to that. I'm going to take advantage of that for the visionary side of it. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. All right. So that's very, very rich material. Alhamdulillah. I appreciate it very much. So it's like the subject. So I'm moving on now. So I'm not reading anything from the comments, and I'm not checking in on the board for as far as phone calls are concerned, call-ins. I'm going to take it because he set it up, Dante. Because he set it up, it makes it easy for me. I believe Allahu Alam makes it easy to go ahead and deal with that. I am going to have to create something right quick if I. Yeah. All right, here we go. So. Yeah, let's do it this way. So those of you who have who've been with me on the Wednesday broadcast, you already have some idea about this. So we're going to take advantage of the overlap in the comments, because I know it's been a while. We're talking about taqwa and the game of life, but I haven't had quite the time, or I guess I have to say haven't taken the time, because I think in the order of things, it'll be more appreciated when we get to that point that it can be valued. So I'm going to this is foreshadowing you. We're way ahead of the game. We haven't even got to this part in our Wednesday broadcast, but I want to take advantage of the symbols here. So we do this. All right. So let's go with this here. Just so you can get the symbol in your mind. I know it's there, but I want you to literally be able to see it. And let's see how we're doing this. All right, so that's pretty big, but that's that pyramid symbol. That's the pyramid symbol on the dollar bill, right? In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to let y'all just watch me work through this, and I'm going to kind of talk through it. But this is a big deal. Now remember what Dante just talked about. He just talked about seeing, right? Talking about seeing and vision. And for as far as taqwa is concerned, that is the essence of taqwa. That is the essence of taqwa. Now, when we let's see if I got my images here. I think I may have to just create them. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and create them. So since you already have these ideas right here. right? So that's a pyramid, right? And so I don't want any fill in that. So we want to make this. So that's that, right? Now make a copy of this. And now I want to okay, so you see what that is, right? That's the Star of David, as it's called, Star of David. It's also called the Seal of Solomon, all right? Oh, pardon me, Solomon's Seal. Trying to get it balanced. Maybe I didn't turn it as completely as it needs to be turned. Or my triangle wasn't perfect. That'll do. All right. So yeah, Star of David, right? So the question is, what does the Star of David have to do with that? Well, one of the things we can do is, let me go ahead and pull something else. Thank you for your patience. Keep looking at that, because that's also saying something that we want to say. All right. I'm still here. So let's see. There it is. Still there. Okay. All right. So you got the dollar bill. You know that, right? So actually, there's a larger. It probably would have been better to do a larger image, but if you look at, oh, maybe I can do this. Let's go with this picture. I'm gonna go ahead and crop this right here, because I only need one part of it now, and that's this part right here. And actually, I only need the eagle. So let's go ahead and do that. You see what I'm trying to show you? What's over that eagle's head? When you see what's over that eagle's head, then you understand why America is to Israel, occupy Palestine, what it is to occupy Palestine. Because there's so I could spend time with the Bible and show you that. And Imam Muhammad is our teacher. It's not like, oh, I discovered. No, there's no way I would not have no idea about this were it not for what Imam Muhammad did. You know, and I'm thinking now, I mentioned Imam Suleiman during the khutbah, and I said Rahim Allah. I was just on a roll on those Rahim Allah. No, Suleiman, he's still with us, mashallah, for as far as I know. But again, also, that's not the only time you actually say Rahim Allah. I want the mercy on the young man. Anyway, so, but let's do this here. Trying to get this line straight. Okay. Point is, I'm trying to get this arrow to point from there to there. What happened to my thicknesses on my lines? Okay, there it is. All right, so there you go. So the idea is to understand that this Star of David is this. One of these pyramids is this, right? But this is the pyramid turned over. Now the Imam gave us the teaching. I'm talking about in the 70s. He gave us the teaching in the 70s to show how the wicked among them use this knowledge against us. But also understand the teaching is that Allah reveals the truth to and for the benefit of the world, right? He reveals the truth to and for the benefit of the world, but everybody gets it. Yes, everybody gets the knowledge, the righteous and the wicked. They get the knowledge. Now the righteous, they do with it what Allah intends that they would do with it. Now the wicked do something else. The same knowledge of nature. When we talk about black magic, white magic, etc., short version of it is black magic is using the knowledge of the human nature over the heads of the people, not for the benefit of the persons themselves, but for their benefit, the benefit of the magician that is using it to dominate them, to keep them in the dark, the black magic, right? The black nature, black ignorance, black the use, the dark use that they're putting it to. And of course, the white magic, I'm just using their language right now. The white magic has to do with those who have the enlightenment, but they use the enlightenment to bring people out of the darkness into the light. And they don't use that knowledge to manipulate to manipulate them through the knowledge of the nature that they're using over the heads of the people, right? Okay. So the point is that there's biblical references that talk about this very thing right here. So what's going on in America and the relationship that America has with occupied Palestine is a relationship that has been cultivated for thousands of years. We can say thousands because we're talking 2000. And it has to do with Gentile and all the rest of that. But let's go ahead. The idea is motivated by what Dante was saying. Okay, so now you have Star of David. Okay, let's talk about the goodness. Let's talk about the goodness of this, right? So let's see. Y'all see me doing this, so let's see what we want to do here. Try to create this picture while we're okay. So same thing with the picture. Now we're going to crop that, and we're going to take it up to there. Take it over there. Let's see if we can. Trying to get more of that eye in there, maybe. Okay, so you know what it is, right? So I'm going to put it here. So that's that, right? Then you take the same thing. Let's see. That's that. Then you take that. Now we're gonna rotate that. And oh, come on. Oh, that's how that works. So now it's the same thing. Same thing there. Right? Okay. So you know all this is, it has to do with the Egyptian wisdom, right? So what did I just open up? Hang with me now. All right. Now, I'm saying to you in the simplest way right now. Okay, I'm already on that page. So now we're going to go back to this. Okay, so you have that, right? So I won't be able to put all these on one page, but maybe I can toggle. Come on. All this is coming on the Wednesday broadcast some point in time. Inshallah, we'll get a chance to get to that. Okay. So here, so you have to look at the smaller picture on the, I don't know if I can make it bigger this way. No, that's what gets bigger. But look at the pictures on the left here. Okay. So now, if had I left the other image, no, you have that image. This right here, let me do another arrow here. Well, I can't get across. The point is that the same thing that's happening with this ego right here is the same thing that's happening with these talents. This crossover here, it means the same thing that what the talents on one side, there's peace, on the other side there's war. Let's put it like that. This crook and flail represents, again, if I can't get you in the body, I'll get you in the mind. Let's put it like that. The point is that this kind of power, this kind of knowledge is what's operating in America. That's what's operating in America. And it starts with understanding what's going on with the representation that the pyramid is. Now, the only thing I want to point to before I go away from the picture per se is where you have Isis. Isis here, notice that she has two right hands. Just look right there. You can see that thing where there's supposed to be a baby finger. No, that's a thumb, right? So that means, and that's a right hand. So you got a right hand. So she got two right hands, and the two right hands, she is holding the key of life in there, and that key of life is a man. That is man, human being. So you see the opening there. The opening there is actually the person's head. She's not using the key right there. She's just representing the key right there. But in order to use the key, she's going to have to put her hand in what is the head of the person. And once you get inside their head, now that's the key of life. You're controlling their life. Once you get into their head, in their psychology, then you're owning them, right? That's the knowledge that's operating in this country and has been operating in the world for thousands of years. I'm talking pre-Jesus, thousands of years, okay? And the Imam has explained this, and believe it or not, the Imam explained these kind of things in the 70s and 80s, more so in the 70s. And, you know, mashallah, that was when he was working to break us out of another mythological prison. All right, so what we have here is, so you see that. So you see where the knowledge is coming from, right? All right, I'm going to try, you know, by the grace of Allah, inshallah, with the help of Allah, to, let's see. All right, let's work with this. So you see this, right? So the pyramid comes from a base, and it comes up to its height, and its pinnacle is vision. That's the main thing. Why do you think they call the great place of spiritual insight for the Catholic Church? They call it the Holy See. The Holy See. I'm not going to go any further, but there you got that right there, the Holy See, and you can deal with all those C's that Brother Dante had brought up. You know, you can put them in there, all right, and then the Holy See, right, and then I'll move on with it. So in terms of that, to rise up to the pinnacle, it's to get and to have vision, right? To have vision. That's the goal. And that's actually the goal for the human being. So when you start at the base, when the Imam explained to us Jah and what he means by the Jacobite, it has to do with Jah. Jah is talking about the foundation, it's talking about the foundation in the human being, motivations, drives, sentiments, and aspirations. All this is what's down here: motivations, drives, sentiments, and aspirations. That then you have this this 3 and 4-sided figure. Believe it or not, I'm not trying to explain the whole thing. The idea is that when they come together and when they cooperate together, and when you get the power of that cooperation for and from and in your own nature, you come to a level of vision. You have super vision, right? You have, when you control that. But now what they do with the masses is take that knowledge that they have of the human nature and use it against the human nature. They reverse it. And that's what you see. That's one of the ways of reading the Star of David. They reverse that. And then they take what they know about the human nature and they go into the motivations, drives, sentiments, and aspirations of the people that they want to dominate, who don't have knowledge of their own motivations, drives, sentiments, and aspirations. And then they manipulate them through them. And so they're having knowledge over their head. They're having supervision, but they're taking that knowledge and using that knowledge against the people. This symbol right here is also called the seal of Solomon. The seal of Solomon, right? In that seal of what are you talking about? The seal of Solomon. It is known that Solomon, this is known before Quranic revelation and like biblically speaking, even though the terminology jinn wasn't necessarily done, but the genie in the bottle and all the rest of that's jinn. And the wisdom of Solomon and the power that he has, we know now Allah has revealed to us that he had the power over the shayateen, the power over the jinn, and he built using them as builders and divers, etc., because he had that power. So Solomon, who had in his council a freak of the jinn, he had a strong jinn, not a weak jinn. He had a strong jinn in his council. All right. So the seal of Solomon means have the power of Solomon, right? Now, without dealing with it, now let me see. Where can we go? This I say right here, this is coming, right? Heliopolis, but that's mashallah, that's weeks away. Any of you who have those transcripts from the Imam, I'm sorry, don't know the date of it per se, but the Imam breaks down what we're coming up to, that this knowledge that I say has been operating for thousands of years is the knowledge that its birth is in Heliopolis. And a part of it is knowing how to manipulate, swing a culture, swing a society, swing a people blind and ignorant to their own nature, but of whom you have the knowledge and insight into their nature. You can control them by manipulating their motivations, drives, sentiments, and aspirations, by manipulating their passions, by swinging them from one extreme to the other. It's the God-dog principle. That's what's going on. It's the God-dog principle. And that's what they're doing. I know you have to be asking. It's like, what was that Marilyn Monroe thing, right? So we're gonna get to it, inshallah. I don't know when, but this right, real short. This is from She's Fresh, Kool and the Gang, the Kool and the Gang video. I don't know. Somebody sent it to me. I don't even know who sent it to me, but mashallah, it's all timely. I don't know. Maybe they saw this in there too, but there was no details in whoever sent it to me. I don't know who sent it to me. I don't know why they sent it to me, but I appreciate it because here it is. So this is the headline that comes there, right? And these are all stop screenshots from the video. But he said the king is having a ball, right? Once you know who the king is, and the king is not, you got that kind of Star of David symbolism kind of going on right there too, which is a symbol of an atom, right? But then that's Adam. They're talking to each other, because if you cut the music off, look at the videos, and what does all this have to do with any of the things that we're talking about, right? So, bottom line, king is having a ball. Who's the king? Take it as Shaitan. I do not believe that our brothers knew anything about what was behind what was going on there. But in any case, so you have the king is having a ball, right? Ball, Baal. he's having a ball, right? He's having fun. He's entertaining himself. These people listening to music. These people going through these motions, and they don't know that I'm manipulating them over their head. Look at all these little pyramids in the symbol. And look at what they're sitting inside of. I'm sorry, Blog Talk. I mean, it turns out to be one of those days. Blame Dante. So you have this. So you have them. They're sitting inside of pyramids. Those are these fat women, and they're actually eating. You see the video. You look at the burgers that they're eating. You see that the burgers are barbed wire. There's barbed wire in the buns that they're eating, and I could find the curse on the food of the Gentile, and the curse is in there in the Bible. You can actually find it. But the bottom line, look at those pyramids. You got the pyramids, and the one who's laboring under the pyramid is the Bilalian girl. Between those pyramids look like spikes, right? And you know that they're dangerous. But the point is that the pyramids are all there. And then you got the mirrors and the rest of that. Okay, you got the Marilyn Monroe figure, which has to do with the whole paradigm that they're manipulating, the sexual manipulation, the use of triggering individuals into certain mindsets and the like. All that's there. And then the Marilyn Monroe figure, who's supposed to be the fairy godmother, that she bowls it looks like she's bowling, but she's throwing like a hand grenade and something blows up, and that's when the girl changes. But the point is, whole lot of symbolism there. And what's the important thing? Well, many important things, but the point is, why bowling? Why bowling? Because bowling is another pyramid symbol. So when you set up the pins for the bowling, you set it up like a pyramid. And then what do you knock it down? You knock it down with a black ball, right? We got all kind of colored balls and different things like that. But no, the original ball is a black ball. And the black ball knocking down the 10 white balls, right? And the main one that you got to hit proper, you have to hit the number, I think that's the 10 pin. I don't know. That you got to hit that one proper in order to have a strike, right? So then you have to start talking about baseball and all the rest of that. So they're playing games. So they're having a ball. They're having a ball. The Jacobite, they're having a ball while we're just dancing to the music, et cetera, and everybody partying. But he's at a different party than the one that we're at. But let's move on. Okay, so we have that. All right. So the point is that in righteousness and the development that Allah invites us to, you grow up from the fitri base. So you can take that base. It's natural. Motivation, drive, sentiments, and aspirations, they're all natural. They're all good. They're all necessary. But it's about learning how to get them to cooperate in perception. And when you get them to cooperate, when your senses cooperate, they form this sixth sense. They form this perception. They form the ability to see. They create the ability to have oversight, insight, farsight, hindsight. You can see all around from the top of that, right? But the most important thing for you to see is to see into your own self. To see into your own self. So the positive take from this symbol, the Star of David, one of the negative takes from it, as far as the Seal of Solomon, it has to do with binding and releasing Satan, which is also a biblical statement. Binding and releasing Satan. So the Seal of Solomon gives you the ability to bind and loose Satan. So even if you take, and the Quran talks about Suleiman Shayateen, and you'll have those people who translate or treat it like he's saying the jinn. No, it's saying Shayateen. But then the jinn moves from jinn, iblis, the shaitan. All of us having the potential to be shayateen. All of us have that potential. If we don't know how to master our motivations, drives, sentiments, and aspirations, if we don't know how to manage our urges and our impulses and our instincts, when you lose that management, see, and that's that bowling, black ball, take out the 10 pin, and it'll be a strike. It can probably knock down the whole being. When you take them out, when you deprive them of the capacity to see into their own nature, when you deprive them of the capacity to see into their own, then you got them, because now they're blind, blind, deaf, and dumb, right? So and how do they measure the bowling game? In frames, right? So moving past that, so in natural vision, in the best vision is a symbol of what you see there on the left with the pyramid and the eye on top. If you can make that journey, right? If you can make that journey in yourself and from yourself to become enlightened through your original nature, so that the first movement, if you take the movement from the upright star, is the movement of the person growing up to the fullness of their potential. I guess there's another one that I need to go ahead and keep tiptoeing around it a little bit, but I think I have to bring it in. Yeah. Let's see if I can get it in here. All right. So this is also here's the pyramid here. This is what I'm saying. Given that you successfully make this movement, right? So I'm pointing out to you that how do you make this journey from the bottom to the top, right? What does it mean to make this journey from the bottom to the top? And that is, this applies everywhere. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna try to teach the whole thing, but the Institute people, you can expect to get this at some point in time on the site. But here's the same pyramid, right? And this when I say the same pyramid, the same hierarchy, right? All the evolution of all of us. So even if we just talk about ourselves personally as individuals, the knowledge of self, right? The true knowledge of yourself, the true knowledge of your fitr, the true knowledge of the nature of your creation. It starts down here at the bottom, unconscious, incompetent. There are things that we don't know, and we don't know that we don't know about ourselves. I'm only talking about ourself, right? So you could replace this with anything: golf, tennis, math, chess, engineering, being a lawyer, a doctor, whatever. It doesn't matter. You have to make this movement from unconscious, incompetent. Then as you grow, you come into conscious incompetence, meaning that you know what you're supposed to do, but you recognize that you recognize when you make mistakes. So you're not quite there. Oh man, I made a mistake. Why? Because you know what you're supposed to know, but you're not quite competent in doing that. So you're conscious incompetent. Oh yeah, my bad. Conscious incompetence, right? Then when you become a conscious competent, that means that you know what you're supposed to know, and you can do it, but you have to do it. You have to remain conscious. You cannot take your eyes off the ball. You cannot relax. You cannot do it at a level where you're not paying very explicit attention to the details, right? But okay, so you're better than the unconscious incompetent. You're better than the conscious incompetent. You are now conscious competent, but since you have to think about everything that you have to do in order to get it right, that's too slow. You won't have that Bruce Lee power. You won't have that Bobby Fischer, Gary Kasparov kind of talent over the chessboard, and the Muhammad Ali boxing, and the Michael Jordan kind of moves that you need to make on the fly, literally on the fly. And so no, you're not at the level of the unconscious competent. But when you get to the level of the unconscious competence, that's when you have the vision. That now you have the vision into what? Whatever the game is. Don't matter. What? These people that we're talking about, their game is the mastery of human beings. The people that we're talking about. Their game, money, that's nothing. Money is a product of human beings. I control the human being, I control the money. Power, power. It's just a matter of who has the power. As long as I control the one who has the power, then I have the power, and I can be the power behind the throne. All I need to understand is how to master the person. When I know how to master the person, then the person, in effect, becomes my slave, especially when they don't know I'm the one pulling the strings and they are unconscious of my competence, and I am conscious of their competence, and I am conscious of their level of unconsciousness. Indeed, I contribute to their being unconscious in the manner I want to. I want them to be unconscious of the things I want them to be unconscious of, and I want to make them conscious of the things that I want them to be conscious of, and I set the frame for their mind. Let me go ahead and say that since I'm there. It's like inside of that hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, eat together because the blessing is in the company, right? What blessing is in the company? Everything. I mean, it's just there's blessings in the company. I talked about deals that are cut over the dinner table, deals that are made in the social environment. So when we socialize with each other, that's a moment of interaction that has to do with the melding and the cementing of our social ties, our social relationships, strengthening of our bonds, strengthening that wall that really constitutes the protection of our culture. All that's being done at the dinner table. And you'll find that if you study the Jewish religion, a big issue, and the big issue that they had with Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was doing what he was doing with tax collectors and publicans and other people, that the problem was sitting down eating with these people. You'll find that diet and eating is a big deal, and that's putting it lightly. Big deal, right? Good, just like that image that I showed you from the Kool and the Gang piece. They're eating a burger, right? And they're eating that burger. One of the big things, you can't have dairy and beef together. You can't have dairy and beef. They weren't showing a cheeseburger per se, but a person who is of that mind and understands that would be one of the things that would be brought up by that image. One thing brought up, their food is not our food, right? And then inside their burger was barbed wire, right? So you think about barbecue. Y'all don't have to stop eating barbecue. But barbecue that's a part of, but really more than that. There's a curse in the Bible that said that they would be cursed to eat their dung and drink their urine. I won't use the harsh word for it. Eat their dung and drink their urine. And mashallah, I know your innocence, the innocence of you never think corpophiliacs. Corpophiliacs. I'm gonna let you, if you can spell it, you can look it up and then you get the answer what that actually is. You got corpophiliacs, and then you have those people that there are other vulgar names for it, but they find pleasure in those things, literally. While those are curses in the Bible, we have a world now where you can find a class of people who find pleasure in just that, right? So that, but see, that's the curse being fulfilled in the people. And so when you see that image is telling you that, because those are symbols, right? Those are symbols. I'm trying not to hurt your feelings on the level of, but when I'm a person who loves burgers, but burgers and beer, I'm not a beer at all, but the idea, burgers and beer, that's that curse. That's the symbol of that curse. And the Imam already told us about hot dogs, and you deal with the rest of it. So the point is, so food is one of the ways by which they manipulate, dominate, and keep us unconscious and keep us inside. They entertain themselves with that. Let's move on. So where are we at here? So, okay. So in terms of this movement, this unconscious competence, that's the movement here. So let's take it from the natural perspective first. The natural perspective is that, yes, in nature, right? Because Shaitan is not inventing anything. He's just taking advantage and manipulating the nature and the science that Allah has revealed in creation and to the human being. Okay, so when you grow up by managing that, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to stick with the theme of the abstracts and how the abstracts are truth without details. Well, the Prophet says none of you is a believer until his ahwa follows what I have brought. The ahwa is motivations, drives, sentiments, and aspirations. The ahwa is the instincts, urges, impulses. The Prophet said, until you bring your urges, instincts, and impulses under what I have brought, you are not really a believer. And that also tells you that the goal of the believer is self-control, self-management, self-direction. Okay? لَعَلَكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Right? So this is so if you can see, let's take this out. Let's go. Let's do this.
90 seconds.
Okay, it's almost time to go. Okay, so all right. So let's take that one out. Let's take that one out. So the idea is that on a natural basis, it's the right way to go. When you learn how to manage and control your urges, your impulses, and put them under God, and the throne of God was first upon the waters.
60 seconds.
The throne of God is first upon the waters. It's saying do that. See, abstract. The throne of God is first upon the waters. Concrete, particular. It means bring your sensitivities, bring your sentiments, bring your human nature under the authority of God. Follow the disciplines that Allah has for it. And the Prophet said, I'm the one, follow me. Follow me. And when your urges, impulses, appetites, when it follows what I have brought, now you can rise up and come to the vision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to have, right? So that's the way it is supposed to be natural. But when the shaitan gets a hold to it, he takes it, reverses it, and uses it against you. But the flip side of that also is that this is what you and I also have to do. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna flip out a little now. So when Imam Muhammad tells us when we make wudu, we're actually saying the good of that very thing. It said you start wiping your head at the back. This is Adam. That's your original nature, your consciousness as a baby, and then it got educated. Now this is the frontal cortex. You go from the primitive brain to the frontal cortex, the executive function of the brain, that the visionary planning part of your brain, right? And then when you come to that level of knowledge, so Allah created Adam and educated him, and then re-educated him to recreate him. So this picture, and this is the wipe of the wudu here. So you made the whole trip, right? The goal is come into conscious awareness of your own nature. And then with that awareness, turn around, look into yourself, and through insight in yourself and insight of yourself, you will have the power that you see in a Suleiman alayhi salatu wasalam. You will see a power, and that's probably why I said rahimahullah, because I said Suleiman. Yeah, I think about Solomon the prophet, peace be upon him. So in any case, so the idea is that this is a symbol. So first you grow up to the conscious vision, and then you use that vision to go into yourself, to learn more about yourself, to learn more about your nature. And when you learn that level, when you get that level of knowledge about yourself and about your own nature, that is what gives you that power that's talked about with regard to Dawood and Suleiman. May Allah be pleased with them, and may Allah's peace and blessing be upon both of them. That's when the power of the speech of birds and the power of the winds and the coursers that serve them, that basically their beck and call. It's a symbol of the realized potential from and within a believer in God who takes that knowledge, applies it to themselves, it opens up and accesses for them, gives them access to the powers in the very nature of creation. Because you can take that and read it also, where it says, go out and look at, study the creation. You go out and you come back. No, go back and look again. Take a second look take a second look, and do you see any defects, or you see any fractures, you see any seams in it? No, it's the Tawheed. It's unit. It's one unit. You're part of that unit. And that power is in you, that is in the creation. And you will get that power from within yourself to the extent that you submit yourself to the one who created you and it, as did Suleiman alayhi salatu wasalam. And we see what was the result of what he was able to do. So, mashallah, that's it. So I'm Dante, thank you for your kickstart of this conversation this morning. So, alhamdulillah, no, we're not going to take any comments today. Nobody's asking. I'm not looking at the theater. I know sometimes when I go into subjects like this, it kind of stimulates more, but we don't have the kind of time that would be needed to address that today. So I hope you can accept that. That was today, and mashallah, we're going to call it a day. And I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, Allahu Alam, but inshallah, perhaps you'll join us tomorrow for Quran Salat Institute. And basically, you can look at the, excuse me. Oh, last week we didn't have a broadcast, so it had to be the week before. And normally I just take up some time for there. Naima, alhamdulillah, greetings to you, my extended family. It's one step at a time that I'm looking into my own self. This is giving me thanks to Allah for blessing me to see my knowledge in my true nature. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you to succeed in that endeavor, because that is the challenge of life. God's peace be on you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.